Hey guys, my name's Matthew. This is going to be a very awkward opening, maybe awkward first couple of videos as I'm trying to get in the swing of this and trying to be comfortable with this. I think everybody who's made videos has been a little awkward towards the beginning. I just wanted to start off this video and start off this channel with a little summary of some of my interests and a little bit about my life. I'm 20 years old. I have a degree in film. I also have another degree in biomedical engineering, but that one isn't quite as important as that one for my future. I'm an aspiring author. I'm currently writing 2 books. Uh, but I would say, above all that, I love entertainment. I love narrative. I love story. Whether it be movies, television shows, video games, novels, manga, anything like that. But I will say the top dog, my favorite piece of media is television. I just think that long form and the longer time to be connected with characters and a story is where I really thrive in a personal sense. So this channel will be majority focusing on television. I, of course, at some point will be breaking into movies. Um, Most of the videos will probably be by myself. I have a friend who's going to join me for a couple television shows. Um, I know that I'm starting off with One Piece, and I'm starting off with a random episode in the thousand. Well, I mean, I don't even know what episode I'm on. I'll find out a little bit. I think it's like 1090 or something like that. That's the beginning of the Egghead arc. I've held myself off from starting the Egghead arc while I set up this YouTube channel. It took me longer than I would care to admit, as I'm not really that technologically advanced, but I've got everything set up. I'm ready to start. But my friend has not watched One Piece, and at some point I will be forcing her to start from the very beginning, and we will watch every single episode of that. So, you One Piece fans, if you're interested in that, just give me a little bit of time to cook, and I'll get everything together. Um, I don't know what other shows I'm going to be starting off with. I just know that One Piece is going to be the first one. I think that One Piece is one of those shows. It's beloved. It's not my absolute favorite show, but it's one of my top 15 probably. But I've always found it harder to watch One Piece weekly than it is to binge it. So I'm trying to use this channel as not just an excuse to talk to people about my favorite television shows or movies, but also just as an excuse to get me to watch stuff. I have a hard time with my motivation at points. I know that some of my friends who I talked to One Piece about have been angry with me not starting the Egghead arc anytime in the past couple months. But you know, I'm finally getting onto it, and I'll have even more people to talk to about it, I suppose. I do. It is a little awkward just jumping straight into uh, the Egghead arc. Uh, if I could snap my fingers and make the YouTube channel in February of 2022 when I started watching One Piece, that would have been preferable, as I could have recorded my whole journey. But alas, it's a little too late for that. So I did just want to give a quick summary of some of my feelings and some of my favorite characters, moments, and all that. I think without a doubt, you know, my top five in no particular order. It's gonna be Luffy, Usopp, Blackbeard, Doflamingo, Buggy, Nami. That's more than five, but that's like the top six or the top seven. Um, I think that Luffy is an amazing protagonist, and I know that I mentioned that One Piece isn't my favorite show of all time. I do love One Piece. I do really want to stress that throughout this watching. Hopefully until when One Piece ends. I don't know if that's going to be 5 or 6 years down the line. I do. Oh, I also want to mention I have not read the manga, and I do not plan to read the manga. If I start something in TV form, I finish it in TV form. I don't switch between television and manga. Um, I forget where I was starting with it, but um, said, oh yeah, I said that One Piece is my favorite show. I will say some critical stuff about One Piece every once in a while. Don't take it as me hating the show or disliking the show. I love One Piece. I really want to stress that. I love One Piece. I have a giant, you guys can't see it, but I have a giant One Piece poster on the other side of my room. Um, so I am a big fan of it. It's just not my favorite, and it's not my. I know they make a lot of jokes in the anime community. One Piece is not peak for me, but it's close to peak. Um, and the closest to peak the show has ever gotten is Water 7. Water 7 is my favorite arc. My second favorite arc is Impel Down. My third favorite arc is Enies Lobby. My fourth favorite arc is Dressrosa. And my fifth favorite arc is Whole Cake. I do want to focus because this obviously follows, some could say, the biggest arc of the show, Wano. I will say I was disappointed in Wano. I started my One Piece journey when Wano was airing, in early 2022, and there was so much hype behind it. And watching Wano, I was honestly disappointed. I didn't think it was bad. I still think I think I ranked it, because I have lists of everything. I'm not going to show you the lists, but I think I ranked Wano as my 11th favorite arc. Right below Alabasta and Skypiea and right below Alabasta and Skypiea. But and this has been a problem with post-time skip, I will say. My favorite moments of One Piece have been when it's focused on the crew, when it's focused on the Straw Hat Pirates. And to me, Wano, even though it had such great peaks, it didn't focus on the Straw Hats. And I would even say it didn't even have an arc for a single Straw Hat. I know that I said that Water 7 was my favorite arc, and that's because my favorite moment in the show is the Luffy and Usopp fight, episode 233 or something like that, around there. That moment is when I thought to myself, wow, this kind of is peak. This is goated. Oda is an amazing writer. And not just that, the reason that Water 7 is so good, in my opinion, is that it focuses. And I don't mean, like, you could say that Zoro was primarily shown in such a big light in Wano. He didn't do anything. Like, I will say, and we're going to get to it. I know that Zoro is such a popular character. Zoro is my least favorite Straw Hat. I do not hate him, and I want to stress that enough because I know how popular Zoro is as a character. I like Zoro, but I don't love Zoro. And I'm going to go on tangents, guys. That's just who I am. Zoro, to me, in Wano, didn't have an arc. He just had moments. And to me, to get connected to characters, and which is the most important part in liking something, is getting connected to characters. It doesn't matter how well written something is. If you don't connect to a character, whether it be that you like them or that you hate them, okay? You have to be connected to something. And at times, Zoro to me is just eh. But going back, Water 7 is so good because Usopp has an arc, okay? And Robin has an arc, and Frankie has an arc, and Luffy has the best arc of the entire show for the main character, him becoming a true leader. All that happens within the same arc, and then even then, okay, the characters that don't have an arc, characters like, I just mentioned Zoro. Zoro is at his absolute peak in Water 7 character-wise, at really taking hold of that number 2 position in the crew. Nami is peak. Chopper is excellent. Sanji on the train is one of his best moments. And arcs with Robin. And then obviously Robin's flashback is so fantastic. Getting it Impel Down. Okay, I really need to focus on this part of the story. The segue from Sabo, which is pretty sure it's my 6th favorite arc. Amazon Lily is fantastic and is probably the best short arc of the entire show. And then you go to Impel Down, which is my 2nd favorite arc. I love Impel Down so much because of first of all, this entire arc is so heavily focused on Luffy. And it's the part of the show, it's like where it really sent Luffy into my love category. Okay, obviously, everyone's first moment of One Piece is the walk to Arlong Park. And that's the first moment where I started to like Luffy. Because before that, I didn't like Luffy. In fact, I would say that I disliked Luffy. But the walk to Arlong Park is the moment that I liked him. But his extended arc in his journey to find Ace that's probably the best stretch of arcs in the entire show, because as I've mentioned before, my main problem with post time skip is that they don't focus on the Straw Hats, their arcs, and their relationships. This 150 episode stretch of One Piece focused on Luffy and Luffy. That's it. His relationship with Ace, and I just love this character. I loved it. So I do hope. Obviously, I've heard how good Egghead arc is. I hope that I don't get deceived like the Wano lovers deceived me. I've heard that specifically I am going to love the Egghead arc. So I'm very excited for it. But I do hope that Oda gets back to the personal side of One Piece, because that's where I think it really gained traction. That's the moment that I really think the show became beloved. It's because of the characters. It's not because of the fights. Because we know one thing. I don't have to mention it. The pacing in the show is bad. You know what I mean? The fights are they're good sometimes, but they're always dragged out. But all that being said, I know I said I'm going to be critical of the show. It's just in my nature. One Piece is... I'm just going to be critical of it. It's in my nature. But all that being said, on an emotional level, and due to how many episodes there is, One Piece is the show that's probably made me cry the most up on the first watch. It's so well done emotionally. The connection between the Straw Hats is so phenomenal. Obviously, yeah, I want to know what the One Piece is, and I want to know all these mysteries and all that. And as we watch episodes, I'll get more into the in-depth what's going on now side of the story. But I really want I want Oda to get back to the personal side of One Piece that made me fall in love. So we will see if it happens. And even if it doesn't happen, I'm sure that I'll still love it. Okay, I know that this is a long rant, and let me tell you what, my videos, I plan them not to be like LM reaction. I love LM reactions, but they can talk forever. This is probably going to be one of the longest openings. This is the first episode of the channel, and because it's the only show that I'm going to jump in the middle of. All the other shows that I watch on this channel, I'm going to start from the beginning. Stepping off from One Piece for a second, I do just want to give a little bit more about the channel. As you can see, some of my posters, some of my books, and all that, I have watched a decent amount of television. My two favorite shows of all time are Lost and Attack on Titan. People who have watched both of those shows can sort of see the similarities of it. I love mystery. One Piece, very mystery heavy. There's something about the mystery genre that enthralls me. Okay, I've seen bad mysteries, good mysteries. Mystery is all that I need. It can end in the stupidest way possible. The journey is what matters when it comes to a mystery show. I do want to say, because I know I said some shows have bad endings. Lost and Attack on Titan's endings are phenomenal. People who hate them don't know what they're talking about, being quite honest, but everyone's entitled to their opinion, but they're wrong in their opinion. But continuing, Game of Thrones, you see the Song of Ice and Fire books, read them like 3 times. I will be watching House of the Dragon when that continues, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. To all this is saying, these shows that I've watched, obviously I'm not going to rewatch them by myself on the channel. I'm not one for fake reactions. But my friend who will be joining me for some reactions has not seen some of these shows. So something like Lost, we will watch Lost. Um, Very excited for that. I have watched so many YouTube reactions to Lost, and the reactions to that trio of shows that I mentioned, Lost, Attack on Titan, and Game of Thrones, or what really gave me the spark to start this YouTube channel. I mean, seeing people react to those big moments and those mysteries, or what, ignited that love, you know. And I want to be able to experience that on the other side. Just looking into the future, shows like probably the show that I'm most hyped to start. I don't know when it's going to happen, but Dark. Very excited to watch Dark. Because I know what type of show that is, and I want to be on the other side. I want to have those holy shit moments. And I want to be able to, after the episode, go into the comments and see how happy people are about the reaction. And just, again, I know I said it in the beginning too. I love narrative. It's narrative and story is so important to me. I want to discuss stories all the time. It's all that goes through my head. I love media. I love entertainment, and I want to be able to talk to more people about it. So I can't wait to do that with some people in the comments here. Another show that I want to give a shout out to is Better Call Saul. Obviously, Breaking Bad is, probably the unanimous greatest show of all time, but what's greater than the greatest show of all time? It's Breaking Bad. I mean, it's Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul is what put me on my path, so to speak. I got my biomedical engineering degree when I was 18. When I was about 16, 17. I found Better Call Saul in the middle of season 2 and 3. So I joined the show for the airing of season 3. And just immediately, it changed my perspective on entertainment. It's such a well-crafted show. Just on the technical side and the writing side, but the technical side. And it made me realize that maybe I can do this. Maybe I can go into this. And obviously, it's slowly morphed over time. I'm more of a writer than a technical cinematography side, but I'm still a lover of it. But Better Call Saul, just watching it, especially season 5 and 6, it's when I went, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to focus on. So, and the reason I also mentioned that show is because my friend has not watched Better Call Saul, so Better Call Saul reactions will be going up in the near future. And then my final thing, like I said, this openings to my videos will not be this long. But I do want to touch off bases here on my first video. Like I said, I'm new to this. It took me a while to set this up, longer than I'd like to admit. If there's any recommendations, any tips, any ways to make it better, if the sound isn't perfect, if my camera isn't perfect, anything like that, just give me some help. If you would, some tips, some recommendations, just to make this better for you guys. Because, like I said, I've been on the other side, and I still plan to be on the other side. I'm a patron to 2 or 3 people. I want to give a shout out to Jimmy Macram, the greatest YouTube reactor of all time. I discovered him, I think, when he was watching Luke Cage, Marvel's Luke Cage. Had to have been in 2017, 2018, I bet. And I've watched him ever since. I became a patron to him. I've been a patron to him since day one when he opened the Patreon, because he was doing Lost reactions. So, and then his LM reactions, Blind Wave, all these channels, some of my biggest inspirations for starting the channel. So, if you see some similarities or anything like that, you know where I got it from. About to start the episode right here. I don't want to go on too much longer. I will say, I've only watched the last episode of One Piece when it aired, the day it came out. Not too remembering of what happened. I know that Luffy's dream, and we'll obviously at some point we'll get into theories about that. I've had many discussions about it with my friends. And then also the Hancock, Kobe, Blackbeard, Rayleigh stuff happened. One Piece is one of those shows that a specific episode isn't really as important as the whole arc. So if I don't watch One Piece for a while and you ask me what happened last episode, I don't really remember. But if I watch 2 minutes of the next episode, everything comes back to me. So with all that being said, if I have anything else to say that I forgot about, I'm sure that I'll say it in a future video. But I think we're ready to get into it. So let's hop into... let me check real quick. Let's hop into episode 1089 of One Piece. Let's get into it. I do want to say I've seen the opening and the ending, the new one. They're amazing. They're top tier. They're some of the best. Look, I love all the One Piece openings and endings. I am one to look at the openings and endings. I know that some shows have spoilers, but I can't help myself. If in the future we're watching a show or we're watching an arc where it's really bad, just warn me and I will skip it. If it's overwhelming, don't watch it. Because we are jumping into episode 1089, and I've not been able to give you guys reactions of all the episodes, I will just randomly mention stuff there. So I did want to mention they've ruined Chopper effectively since the time skip, but what are you gonna do? Didn't mention the music of One Piece in the beginning. Some of the best anime music. I mean, it helps that you listen to it for like 1,000 episodes, but some of the most iconic music. Love Big News Morgan. I love Buggy, man. 3 goats, man. Oh, so I know that I mentioned that at some point in the near future, I am going to be rewatching One Piece with my friend. I'm very excited for it. I've never rewatched One Piece. So an arc like Alabasta, where, quite honestly, it's been like 2 years, a year and a half since I watched it. I'm excited to see stuff. Some foreshadowing, maybe. I love how many characters there are in One Piece that I can name. Like, I know all these guys. I love Ivankov. Like I said, I love Impel Down. I'm very interested to see where Dragon and the Revolutionary Army, where their spot is in the final of One Piece. It's hard to predict their role. Another thing I'm very excited for doing these reactions, it gives me time to essentially talk out loud to myself so I can theorize a little more heavily. I said that I have friends that I talk to One Piece about. It's only a couple, and it's every once in a while, so I'm hoping this is a more consistent theory breeding area that I can maybe get some right predictions. Very interested in M. I don't know any spoilers of One Piece of the manga. I don't pay any attention to it. I do know the one thing I have seen is a lot of predictions that Im is a woman. I have not personally seen any information for that. Maybe it's something in the future manga where people have nabbed onto a piece, but I don't know. Loving the animation. Although I will say One Piece is probably the only show I've seen that goes back and forth between excellent animation and then kind of shabby animation. So I don't know where they're putting all their budget in for the Egghead arc. Some Attack on Titan-esque dream sequences here. I love his design.
レベリーが行われたパンゲア城、その殻の玉座には
通信部電電虫を切れ。
世界の王などいないはずのあの玉座には
通信部俺たちは何
Oh, the animation! They might be stepping up their game even more on the animation side.
何も傍受していない。ルルシア王国。そんな国はもともとないではないか。
Wiping these guys off the face of the earth. Man, this feels like a movie. I don't know if it's because I've taken an extended break or if this really is just an upgrade over the lackluster Wano, in my opinion. Not bad, but a little disappointing. But this is great. I do hope we get more cuts of the outside world as we're going into these final stages of the story. I feel like we can't, have 100 episodes where we don't see anybody. We do need those cuts in. I do love all the Straw Hats out. I do want to say that. Even though I said Zoro is my least favorite, I still like him. What the hell is that? Child? It's not a One Piece arc without a child, man. And he looks so badass. It's just sad that being badass isn't one of my major qualities that I look for in a character I love. This animation is excellent, though. I have ragged on the animation in the past, but this is great. He's goated. This bomb.
チョッパーお前何しに来たんだよ
Bonnie? Bonnie! Wow! This is the last character. No, well, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Rouge. Haven't really gotten anything major on him. We've gotten a little bit. Haven't seen anything major on him. But, you know, her and Rouge are like the last pieces of the worst generation that haven't really been focused on. So I was expecting her pretty soon, but don't know. I don't know if Rouge is going to be in this as well. When is the last time we saw Bonnie? I know I remember her and Blackbeard had a, I don't want to say a showdown, more of a meeting, more of a domination thing? Around, like right after Marineford or maybe around Fishman Island? I mean, again, you know, One Piece has its running shticks. It's not a One Piece arc without a huge animal. Okay, guys, that was episode 1089 of One Piece. My first episode back, first episode of the Egghead arc, and that was damn good. I really liked that episode. Again, I know I said it, you know, somewhere in the middle of the reaction. I don't know if it's because I haven't watched for a little bit, or just an upgrade in writing and animation and story and everything. That was really good. You know, because of the length of One Piece is one of those shows where when I was catching up to it, when I was binging it, I would, you know, binge a whole arc or two arcs, and then, you know, take like a month break off because it's, I don't want to say overwhelming, but it's tiring to watch so much sometimes. So there always is that need for a break. But that right there was really damn good. I loved the focus on Sabo and the Revolutionary Army. A minor complaint of One Piece sometimes is that they don't know how to multitask, if you will. They focus on one thing. Even when you think of something like a poorly paced arc like Dressrosa, there was like some episodes where it was just focused on one thing, and like nothing major even happened in it. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I loved how they were able to show two major storylines. You know, I think I can say this for everyone: the small scale appeal for One Piece is that beginning stage of the arc, the figuring out what's going on, you know, the mysterious entry into the island, and then slowly learning all the small characters and seeing how everything connects. So I'm very hyped to, because that's something I don't feel like we really got in Wano. I mean, it felt like the characters arrived in there and there was like a 2-week time skip or something like that. Obviously we did learn stuff as it went on, but wasn't that magical One Piece feeling. That magical One Piece feeling that I think arcs like Water 7 and Dressrosa and those type of arcs really mastered. But I got shades of that. I mean, we're just starting. But I really like that. I'm very interested to see Bonnie. I mean, the worst generation is... I know it's one of those things that I know, I'm pretty sure Oda didn't plan. He was like forced to write them in, or it feels like he's had trouble at times finding a spot for them. So I'm interested to see how Bonnie plays into this, because she's like one of the last ones to, I would assume she's going to get a decent amount of screen time. I do not know. The last I know, oh wait a minute, we saw Bonnie in Mary Jo. I don't know how to. to say these places, Mary Joie. I'm sure that people can educate me on how to pronounce these things. And she was looking for Kuma. And the reason that I remember this, I'm going to try my best not to get spoiled for your guys' sake. But the reason I remember this is because I remember having a conversation with my coworker about that, and I made a prediction that that was her father. And through his reaction, I could kind of tell that I was right. But I just remember that's the one thing about One Piece. It's so goddamn long that you forget stuff. And some shows, I know I'm going to keep mentioning shows that I've watched. A show like Attack on Titan I've seen like 4 times. A show like Lost I've seen like 6 times. Better Call Saul I've seen 7 times. It's the most I've ever watched a show. Along with Death Note, I've watched 7 times. One Piece is a show that I've only watched once, and not only have I watched it once, it's so long, it's hard to remember everything. So, getting off of that, I do remember making that prediction, and I do know I got accidentally spoiled for that, because my one friend is not good at lying. But I do remember that. So I'm interested to see how that plays. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember the last time I saw Kuma. I don't know if that was the last time I saw Kuma when he was being ridden by Celestial Dragon. So I wonder if he plays a part in this arc. I'd really obviously the first episode of the arc, it's mostly introduction. So I don't have too much to say prediction wise with the specific arc. I don't know if we're going to get the final poneglyph in this arc. I feel like it might be like we either get like an arc or 2 where we don't get it, so that it feels harder. Because I do want to see the Straw Hats get desperate for it, if that makes sense. One of the appeals of One Piece is how goofy and how silly it is at points. But I do like when the show gets serious. And I would like to see a serious Luffy and a serious group of Straw Hats be desperate to find the last poneglyph. So, again, I'm very excited to continue watching. I'm probably going to binge the next couple episodes, so if you see me in the same clothes, if you're binging my reactions to it, don't judge me. But I think I'm going to go straight into the next episode. So, that being said, I feel like that was a decent first episode, or first video for a reaction. Like I said in the beginning, if you guys have any tips or any questions, maybe you just want to get to know me, maybe you have tips on how to improve my videos at all, just let me know. I'm very excited to read some comments. That's the main reason why I wanted to start a channel. I just wanted to talk to people about some of the stuff that I'm passionate about, some of the stuff that I love, because I am a fiend for television, for anime, for entertainment, for narrative, for story, for whatever. I love it. But that being said, I appreciate you guys, or anyone who's decided to stop by and watch this first episode. Let's start this ride. Thank you guys for watching.